Jim says it doesn't give a squat.
Oh, boy. Meanwhile, a stick-up? No. That's airport security. You know, it's supposed to keep us safe, but one lawmaker says it's nothing but a costly debacle that violates our civil liberties. Republican Congressman Paul Brune is asking for drastic changes and demanding TSA Chief John Pistol step down. Right now, we're joined by Fox News senior judicial analyst, Judge Andrew Napolitano. We have had so many instances of where the TSA you know, they've groped people online. We have an instance where one lady went through the scanner 3 times because somebody said she's got a cute figure. People stealing iPads.
We have the 2 elderly Long Island women who were strip searched.
It goes on and on.
Look, the concept of the government getting between a business, the airlines, and their customers, passengers, at the most critical juncture is unknown to us. This is the only place in American society. Correct. So do we want the government responsible for keeping us safe, or do we want people who have the most to lose, which would be the airlines themselves, keeping us safe? Nobody likes going through the TSA. In New Jersey, at Newark Airport has become so bad, as you know, we both live in New Jersey, the legislature is considering legislation that would make it a crime for anyone to touch your private parts, whether you're local police or federal police.
All right, let's talk a little bit about if, let's say, the government were to say, all right, the airlines, you go ahead and you handle your own security.
Well, the airlines have a lot more freedom than the government does. The airlines can do things that the government can't do.
Could they profile?
Yes, well, yes and no. The airlines are not governed by the Constitution. The Congress has made profiling by private companies unlawful. In my view, the Congress doesn't have the authority to do that. So under a purist reading of the Constitution, the airlines could reject any customer that they thought would impair their ability to deliver services to everybody else on any basis that they wanted. Stated differently, the airlines can choose who their customers are. But when the government chooses who the customers are, and the government violates people's rights, we have this terrible confrontation that happens every day. Does the government have the right to touch you against your will? No. Did the Congress ever...
They do.
Well, here's the thing, Steve. Did the Congress ever authorize the TSA to touch you against your will? No. Where did the TSA get that power?
They decided it.
Correctly.
Because we got to keep people safe.
They promulgated a rule. They published the rule. Congress declined to interfere with the rule, so they gave themselves the power to touch us against our will. And like a nation of sheep, we accept this. We shouldn't.
Here's what the congressman says. He wrote a letter to the chief of the TSA. Americans can no longer tolerate the flagrant violations of their civil rights which are occurring at airports nationwide in the name of security. More importantly, the corruption and continued lack of security among TSA's own personnel puts our country at extreme risk. The time has come for serious action to be taken, such as I request your immediate resignation from the position of TSA chief. The safety of our country's travelers requires drastic change, and the time for that change is now.
Congressman Brown, who is a physician, was animated by, he got a copy of the background check that the TSA applies to its own employees. It was nothing. It wasn't a serious background check at all. And then he looked at the number of TSA employees who themselves were indicted for crimes committed on the job. And that infuriated him. And quite properly, he asked for Mr. Pistol's resignation.
Plus, you add the fact that there are these stories out now that apparently even the most sophisticated scanners we've got could not pick up this new kind of bomb they devised out in the Arabian Peninsula.
The Israelis have a very sophisticated way to do it, which is inoffensive and doesn't involve touching and involves eye contact and conversation.
They ask a million questions.
And the lines are short.
20 questions, just like what we just did just now. All right, Judge Andrew Napolitano.
That Jim with a grunt and groan, is that where Kilmeade works out?
I don't think so. All right, Judge, thank you very much.
Pleasure, Steve.
Coming up, on a day when issues like gay marriage are making headlines, why is a reporter asking Mitt Romney about marijuana? See a testy exchange straight ahead. Plus, what's behind doors?